question, we will begin with Ms. Burnell. What is it going to take to enhance downtown Louisville and make it a destination part of our city?
Again, I think that comes back to public safety, but I think that our city has been so hyper-focused on tourism and making it an attraction for visitors that we're not focused enough on making it a safe and welcoming place for the people that live here. So I think we need to start there, and that, again, comes back to public safety. If we want people to get downtown, it has to be a clean, inviting, safe place to go.
Mr. Datillo?
Well, first thing we're going to have to do is find a way to house the immense amount of homeless and hopelessly addicted people that I see as I'm driving through downtown and my own neighborhood as well, and many throughout the city. I have a strong plan for long-term rehabilitation that will end them with a completely rebuilt psyche, bodies that are healthy, and trade skills that will make them valuable in the marketplace and to the city as well if they decide to pick up a civil position. Downtown does need a lot of revitalization. We've seen a lot of the windows getting boarded up and not coming down since the lockdowns, and now people are starting to whisper and worry about more lockdowns that may be around the corner. I wouldn't let the city fall into that trap.
Mr. Hurt. I'll repeat the question. What is it going to take to enhance downtown Louisville and make it a destination part of our city?
Thank you. I believe that our city has been managed as a destination rather than a place that people live. And the outgrowth of that is that there's no grocery stores downtown, right? There's a lot of things that we're missing. So once we begin to focus on the livable aspect of Louisville, of governing for the people who live here, we might think, well, let's make downtown a neighborhood where people actually live. My plan for that is called Lots to Lofts. I want to purchase street parking lots and build four-story apartment buildings that are rented at 80% of the market rate, owned by the city.
Mr. Bailey.
To help our city become more of a destination on the map in the United States, we need to improve our public transit and our infrastructure. Specifically, the work that's happening on the highway downtown. I'm not sure exactly if they're doing anything about the on and off exits, but a lot of those are really, really short and they cause a lot of wrecks. But we also need to focus on making it easier for people to get around the city with TARC and other options.
Mr. Greenberg.
I'd first like to fact check from the last question. I'm proud that since I've been mayor, we've given record raises to our LMPD police officers, fires, and EMS. I encourage you to look at that. We'll continue to do that in the coming years as well. In terms of downtown Louisville, downtown should be the safest, cleanest, greenest, most authentic, energetic neighborhood in our entire city. We've been making progress, and I'm proud of the results that the General Assembly has given us funding to invest more in things like the Community Care Campus, which provides shelter and services to individuals who are in need, to help them get on a positive path in life, to give us funding to create a new downtown fund where we can provide investments in local businesses that are looking to start and create in downtown. Downtown is coming back, and you're going to see a lot more progress over the coming years to come.
Mr. DeVore.
Yes, Greenberg made a lot of promises that he broke. We're talking about safety. We're talking about trash in the streets. He said he wants the cleanest city in the world. But it ain't happening. We have 7,000 abandoned homes. None of it's really worked out for them. Why not go ahead and turn that into an investment, keep that money going into the West End, focus on what is best for you. This is what we need to do. Focus on what's best for you when it comes to building and revamping homes, giving people a chance to own their own home. Not just be in apartments being swirled around year after year, paying the same thing. Next thing is up $1,200. There's no balance in that point. So what we want to focus on what's best for you and making sure that you have a quality of life and making sure that everything is done correctly.
Ms. Parrish-Wright.
I'll take a different approach. Downtown will be fine. I hear all the investment about downtown and it feels like a shell game, but I see empty buildings and it is coming back because life thrives around water. There will always be investment in downtown, but what about the other neighborhoods and the communities across our county? What city merger promised was that all of those communities would benefit from the tourism. I see small businesses, one a 62-year-old business on Preston and Market Street who says he just wants the bike lane fixed. And so if we're not taking care of the small business that are here, we won't have a downtown. It will be an empty city with no people in it. No tourist wants to come to a place that's empty without people that can access it, and they can't use the restroom. And so downtown will be fine if we spread out the investment throughout the county.